Welcome to Living Word Media. Today I want to take you on a journey through pictures of my container garden. At first glance, it might look like just herbs, vegetables, and flowers in pots. But if you look deeper, every single plant preaches a lesson about faith, perseverance, and God's provision. Each container, whether large or small, shows that life doesn't need perfect conditions to flourish. It only needs care, roots, and light. The same is true for us as believers. You may feel limited by space, resources, or circumstances. But with God, growth is always possible. Just as these plants thrive in simple buckets and pots, our lives can bear fruit when placed in His hands. Remember, God doesn't need much to do something mighty. So, as we look at these images together, let them remind us of the truth in Psalm chapter 92 verse 13. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. Some of these containers are no bigger than a gallon or two, yet the plants inside are green, strong, and full of life. That speaks to the power of small beginnings. Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10 says, "Despise not the day of small things." Too often we think we need more money, more influence, or more room to see results. But God delights in using little things to accomplish big results. David only needed a sling and a stone. A boy only had 5 loaves and 2 fish. These small things, placed in God's hands, became miracles. Likewise, these pictures show that even a small pot can produce leaves, fruit, and beauty. Your life may feel like a small container right now, but if God has planted you there, He will make sure you flourish. Don't underestimate where you are. Don't dismiss what looks ordinary. God specializes in taking what looks too small and turning it into something abundant. As you look at these pictures, notice how healthy the plants look above the soil. But what makes that possible is what's happening below the surface, the roots. Without strong roots, there would be no fruit. The same is true in our spiritual lives. Colossians chapter 2 verse 7 says, "Rooted and built up in Him, and established in the faith." In other words, we must sink deep into God's Word, prayer, and obedience before we can expect visible fruit. Sometimes you won't see the results right away. You'll feel like nothing's happening. But just as a plant sends roots downward before it shoots upward, God is developing your foundation. Don't rush the process. Don't pull yourself out of the pot He's planted you in. Stay rooted, stay faithful, and the fruit will come in season. These 63 pictures remind us, every strong branch, every cluster of fruit, every green leaf first started as hidden roots. Looking across these containers, you'll notice an incredible variety. Some are herbs with small leaves. Others are leafy greens, spilling over the edges. Still others are flowers in full color or vegetables beginning to ripen. That diversity is what makes the garden so beautiful, and it mirrors the church. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, Paul says the body has many parts, but each part is needed. No single plant can fill every role. A tomato plant won't give you mint for your tea. A pepper plant won't bloom like a marigold. But together, they create beauty and usefulness. Likewise, God has placed different gifts, callings, and purposes in each of us. When we honor our differences and serve together, the kingdom becomes strong and complete. These pictures remind us that it's not about being the same, it's about being fruitful in the way God designed us. That's the beauty in variety. In some of these pictures, plants are spilling over their containers, branches stretching beyond the pot, fruit hanging low, and leaves overflowing. That's a picture of John chapter 15 verse 5. "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit." When we stay connected to Christ, our lives don't just survive, they overflow. Think about it. A single seed planted in a container can produce dozens of tomatoes, hundreds of basil leaves, or a basket of peppers. That's the kind of abundance God promises to His people. He doesn't just want us to have enough, He wants us to have more than enough so we can bless others. The overflow isn't for show, it's for sharing. Just like I can't eat all the produce from these pots by myself, the blessings God gives us are meant to spill over into the lives of others. These pictures are more than a garden tour, they're a sermon in living color. They tell us that God can bring growth in any space, no matter how small or limited. They remind us that roots come before fruit, that variety brings beauty, and that connection to Christ produces overflow. Maybe your life feels like it's in a small container right now. Maybe you wonder if you'll ever see growth. Let these images remind you, in God's hands, your life can flourish anywhere. The master gardener knows how to water, prune, and strengthen you so that in due season, you will bear fruit. Psalm chapter 1 verse 3 says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. That's God's promise to you. Stay rooted, stay faithful, and keep trusting. Because every container can hold a garden, and every heart can hold the word of life. Thank you for joining me for this Living Word Devotional. If this message encouraged you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Living Word Media for more Bible-centered encouragement and teaching. Remember, every container can hold a garden, and every heart can hold the living word.